Well, NVIDIA clearly blew out earnings, raised guidance, announced a 10-for-1 stock split. Is this just more evidence that AI is going the way of the internet and what Cisco did back in the day with network switches and routers and the like? Probably. But is AI going to be the great leader of job losses? Will they create others? What does it mean for boring businesses? What should you do because of the AI revolution? Bo, I know you've done a lot of research on this. What are you personally using for AI, and where do you think others should be thinking about?
Well, I think solopreneurs, I do have contract workers, but I don't have any W-2 employees. So I have virtual assistants. I have three full-time virtual assistants that are independent contractors in the Philippines, and I have a part-time marketing person, and that's how I operate my business. So look, I was on a presentation yesterday with Mike Koenigs, who's got a very successful guy, and I follow him for like 15 years.
Mm.
And he blew my mind. His conversation was all on AI, and he does a podcast with a guy named Dan Sullivan. Dan Sullivan has a coaching program. He's an older gentleman, and Dan Sullivan is just super smart. Like anything he says, I listen. Um, so they were doing this drill, and they came up like Mike Koenigs and two other people as part of the drill to create a new business in like an hour, and
Mhm.
they were the only ones out of the group of 80 that used AI, and they used this technology, which they wrote a script, they did all that, came up with a business name, kind of like what it is going to be, all using different AI tools. And by the end of it, they had created a custom video, sales
Mhm.
video for the business, and it was really good. And so what used to take weeks and weeks and $50,000, they did it for, a couple $100 in AI tools. So guys, like, don't sleep on this. This is
Yeah.
really big. Like, this is like a revolution. This is like, to me, it's like when we first had electricity, right? It is that big, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I want to kind of talk about. I think there's a general feeling by the public that AI is going to lead to mass layoffs, and we're just going to be an economy run by robots and computers. I would argue that that's the same thing I've heard for hundreds of years around any new technology innovation. If you want to put it in recent terms, I heard the same thing about the internet. The internet was supposed to create a freaking culture where, nobody did anything and all of that. So I guess I have a couple of things. First, AI will undoubtedly, undoubtedly lead to job losses. We are already seeing that at companies like IBM and others that are taking what used to be manual tasks and simply automating and frankly improving. So AI will undoubtedly be used for cost savings, undoubtedly used for job loss. But here's the rub. AI will lead to, in my opinion, even more job creation. It will be different. You will have to skill up. You will have to be certified. You have to be a prompt engineer. You have to be able to understand which AI and which models and blah, blah, blah does this and that. There'll be entire companies who have people who validate AI information because AI, at least in its current form, still hallucinates. And that can't be good if you're declaring a fact and it's just a hallucination. So I know there's a lot of kind of push for AI is going to be this great disruptor in the employment market. But on the other side, I think there's two things that I think about. One is what you just brought up. AI, when used efficiently or correctly or most powerfully, you can turn a solopreneur into a bigger, somebody who's punching above their weight class, right? With AI, you could literally be Bo and probably be more like 10 or 15 1099s or virtual assistants, right? AI will allow you to punch above your weight class. The other thing I think about is, you know what? If you're risk averse, you got to start buying boring businesses like Cody Sanjos talks about. There are businesses out there that AI will just simply not play. Dry cleaning, grocery stores, restaurant. I mean, just there's all kinds of boring businesses where AI won't play, right? If you're going to interact with the public in any way, that's not AI. You're not going to have suddenly robots running around the street doing stuff. Maybe that's decades away, but Um, I think AI is an opportunity. And, you know, if it makes you nervous, it's okay. Nervous is good. Nervous allows you to kind of look at in the future. It's funny. I obviously am in the Silicon Valley. And the thing that Olivia and I talk about around AI is this. In the valley, engineers and computer scientists are treated almost like gods. You know, we're talking 300K comp packages, and you know, if you're a 10x engineer or whatever the heck they call them, it could be $500,000, right? There are engineers and computer scientists that make $500,000 coding. I've got bad news for you. We're going to see a lot of AI products go after that job. So while you're hot shit now, will you be hot shit in 3 to 5 years? Some of you will, undoubtedly. But boy, those B and C players, woo, wouldn't want to be one of them. That's what I'm thinking.
So it's all about adapting. I mean, if we know this is here, look, you talk about taking your passion and creating a YouTube channel. I use AI tools to really get so much content done. I mean, like you can, when I do like these workshops I put on SBA financing, like I did yesterday, I'm using AI and I'm creating these slides in like literally 5 minutes. It would have taken me 3 or 4 hours at least. Like everything you can do, there's a tool for, and so it's the people that I think will do the best are people that understand how to be the orchestrator of these tools
Yep.
and utilize them in a very high level so you can be extremely productive with less manpower, right? And so if you can do that and then figure out how to plug that into your business. So
Yeah.
let's just take an example. I do SBA financing. I can create hundreds of articles on SBA, rank them in SEO, get found on the internet for people looking for an SBA 504 loan or a franchise, right? You can do that. It's very predictable. So if you spend, I listened to Dan Martell. He's a really smart guy too.
I
And
bet Dan.
Dan talks about, he just said, if you can stay consistent for 1,000 days, you will become successful. He just talked about that. And it's so true. So what are you going to do today that you can do for the next 1,000 days? So if you put out a piece of content every day, now with the help of ChatGPT and these other AI tools, there's hundreds of them now. And Mike Koenigs was blowing my mind about tools. There's this new one called the Oasis. You can go on and you can talk, and then it creates like a newsletter. It creates all this stuff. You can take the transcription of this YouTube video and piece them together and create a book. Like, so you can become an author without being a great author. You can do all these things. You can use you can have AI create renderings for you and things like that. You can upload PDFs. I actually do SBA business plans on ChatGPT now, and I help clients do that. I go, here's an example. I upload a PDF, and then I give them the key points of the business plan, and we get a nice rough draft, right? We have to fine tune it. So anything that you want to do, you can do, and you just got to figure out the tools to get it done. And so yesterday's conversation has really inspired me because how can we use this? So if you're a solopreneur or going out and maybe you don't have money to invest in a business today, but you have a couple $100, there's a million businesses you can start, a million businesses today. And that's what's exciting.
Oh, I agree with that entirely, right? I know there's going to be a lot of feelings and emotion around AI getting rid of job loss. I would tell you to flip that coin over and look at the opportunity, right? The opportunity to be a solopreneur really around your passion or interest has never been better, especially if you can learn to harness the power of AI and really punch above your weight class, right? Significantly punch above your weight class. And then, you know, if you really are risk averse, buying a boring business or two is always an option. I think there's also a lot of people who feel they're untouchable today that will be touched. Kind of back to my point about engineers and computer scientists in the valley. They need to wake up. They need to realize that their corner of the world may not be as safe and secure as they once thought it was. But again, this is all opportunity. Where there's great chaos, there is great opportunity. And if you have the right mindset, instead of acting fearful and, you know, hiding, which will eventually just run you over, take it as an opportunity to kind of do more, be better. Um, yeah, I think AI, much like, you know, the internet and Cisco systems, it will go through gyrations and it will undoubtedly in totality be seen as a plus, not a negative, I think.
And if you're paying attention to trends and you're willing to open your mind to these trends and start utilizing it, you might come in and say, "Oh, this is so overwhelming. I'm not using ChatGPT." Well, believe me, you're going to at one point be using AI. I mean, here's some other stats. 35% of businesses have already implemented AI. Um, Integration into devices with 77% of devices featuring some form of AI. So before you know it, there's going to be AI components to everything. So like be an early adopter and then figure out how you can leverage. And I think doing that is great. And then the other thing I would say is play the long game. The long game, like right now, everybody that got into real estate in 2017, it's like, oh, I can't make any money, whether they're a real estate agent or investor. You got to play the long game because there will be another time where it's going to be opportune to buy those 2 or 3 rental properties. Maybe right now is a little tough, but if you stay the course and remember, you teach us to play the long game. So like, yeah, it's tough right now to find the right deals, but inventory is creeping up and there will be opportunities. Same thing with buying businesses. We
Yeah.
got to stay the course. You got to look. I just talked to somebody the other day. They've been looking for an online website type of business to buy. And he said, I looked for a year and I finally found one. So I'm helping them get an SBA loan.
I love that.
And I'm pretty sure they're one rental people too. So anyway,
Ah, nice. Love it.
yeah. So be patient, be persistent, and then be an early adopter to technology and use it to your advantage. And that's really like what inspired me to kind of bring this topic up
Oh, I love it.
on your show. And it's exciting.
No, I love it. Again, I think one of the things that at least I believe about the one rental at a time community is we obviously lean um, opportunity versus scared, right? You can't really follow me and be a crash bro or a doomer. We won't click. You'll be annoyed by what I put out there. We don't lie either. It's hard. It takes time. I tell people all the time, even in my course, right? For $400, at the end of 90 days or 6 months, you're just going to know what a good deal is. I don't promise getting a deal. I can't make that claim. I would never make that claim, but I can promise you I'll teach you the skill. And Dan Martell talks about 1,000 days. I heard a stat. I think I heard Alex Hormozy say this the first time. There's probably been others that if you do something 18 minutes a day for 100 days in a row, you'll be in the top 5% or whatever that is. I just think it's crazy, right? And I've been telling people for years, 20 minutes a day, 7 days a week for 6 months, you can learn the skill. It's people just want it easy. But I think one rental at a time fans know it takes work. They know the first 5 years suck. That's all things we've been putting out there. But hey, if you want to buy a small business, you want to de-risk your employment, perhaps, you got to reach out to the concierge of small business lending. That is Bo. Where do we send them?
Go to onerentalmeeting.com.
I love that. I love that you created that site just for us. OneRentalmeeting.com. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you.